Now to a painful problem millions of people deal with, mostly women.
Yeah, many don't know what it is or what to even do about it. We're talking about problems about TMJ, the joints in your jaw.
It's something Tulsa's investigative reporter Janna has dealt with. She first told us about it nearly 10 years ago when she went through a difficult surgery.
Now she follows up and helps other people. It's her FOX23 investigation.
For 9 years, I dealt with pain right here, and I didn't know why or how to get help. It took years for me to figure it out. Now I know many of you are going through the same thing. Maybe you have clicking or popping in those joints, and I hope this story can help you get some relief, because dealing with TMJ problems can be a frustrating journey. For years, Ashley Fenton didn't know what was wrong or how to get help.
I always thought that I was just going to be stuck with this for the rest of my life.
That's a scary place to be.
Yes.
Ashley says since she was a kid, she had a severe overbite. She had braces to help straighten her teeth, and in college, she knew she had a problem.
My jaw started to lock up randomly, and it would lock up anywhere from an hour. The longest I think it went was like 2 to 3 weeks.
Over the years, she saw different doctors and surgeons.
It just kept going on, and nobody was finding an answer, and it was so frustrating.
Yeah, and all the while you're suffering.
Yes, it started to bother me where I started getting a severe earache on this side, and it got to the point where I felt like there was an ice pick being shoved into my ear.
Sounds awful. The pain was so bad she went to the ER.
He's like, I know this sounds really weird. He's like, but do you have jaw issues? And I said, yes, I have an overbite and my jaw will click. And he said, okay, have you ever heard of TMJ? That was the first time I've ever heard of it.
TMJ, short for temporomandibular joint. The joints you use to open and close your mouth and to chew.
He's like, because I think your jaw is causing all this pain in your ear. And sure enough, they were right.
That ER doctor suggested she find a TMJ specialist.
Open wide.
She came to see Dr. Terry Bennett in Tulsa. When you got here, what did you learn?
I learned so much. I learned that I wasn't crazy. That was my big thing.
We're trying to keep you from having to have braces again.
After an assessment, Dr. Bennett made her appliances. They're like retainers to wear 24 hours a day.
The pain went away. The tension on this side dissipated. I was able to sleep better. Just everything did a complete 180.
Ashley wishes she'd known how to get help sooner.
It's very frustrating because you know your body, you know when something is not right, and it was hard because I felt like nobody believed me.
Is one of the big problems that people just don't know where to get help?
Yeah, exactly. People just aren't aware of what TMJ is. A lot of doctors, a lot of dentists just don't really think it's a big issue for people.
Dr. Bennett says most dentists and doctors just don't know how to help you. TMJ is now a recognized specialty, and Dr. Bennett is one of only 3 TMJ specialists in Oklahoma.
The education is not in the schools. We see people that aren't taught just the basics of jaw joint problems, how the jaw even functions.
Dr. Bennett says if you have problems with TMJ, this is why. The disc that moves with your joint gets displaced.
Most of the people I see are already in pain. They've seen a progression of their issues. It's gotten worse and worse and worse. And a lot of them just say, I can't take this anymore.
The problem can be severe enough to need surgery, and that's actually what happened to me. I had to come here 10 years ago to this hospital to have a surgery done, and I just came all the way back to Dallas to see my surgeon again.
Janna, so good to see you. We're now 10 years.
This is my surgeon, Dr. Larry Wolford.
Looks like you're doing fantastic.
My problem started with pain in my jaw joints about 20 years ago. I didn't know why or what to do about it, so it got worse and worse. It's part of the problem that people just don't know what their problem is.
A lot of people just don't know. TMJ is a very, very common problem. The TMJ joint, it's sort of an ignored joint as compared to the rest of the joints in the body, and a lot of people are unaware of it.
Listen to this. Dr. Wolford's own research shows 80% of those with TMJ problems are women, and 69% start having problems in their teenage years. Is there any way to know why people have these problems?
For the teenage female, I believe a lot of it is hormonally related. And as they hit puberty growth, sometimes their jaws will start to overgrow. They can become asymmetric.
After I dealt with pain for years, I finally found out about Dr. Bennett. He took this photo of me about 12 years ago.
You had a big deflection to the right side, so when you open your jaw, it went like that.
A CT scan showed the problem.
And when I looked at that, I came in and said to you, Janna, we got a problem.
Turns out over the years, the soft tissue discs that move with my jaw joints had disintegrated. These MRI images show I'd ground down my joints and the bones were fusing together.
Yours was very advanced.
I felt like for me at the time it was life or death. I cannot go on like this one more day.
But you're doing so well. I'm just so proud of you.
After hours of research, I found Dr. Wolford.
Just to relax your jaw.
He drew a blueprint of his surgical plan for me, later perfected by computer and shown on this model of my skull.
This is your actual model here.
His suggestion? A double joint replacement with prosthetic titanium joints like this one.
This one just shows an example of what an artificial joint looks like.
He said my upper and lower jaws needed to be repositioned too. My lower jaw had receded so far it was cutting off my airway.
The airway becomes more obstructed, and then the sleep apnea really can kick in and cause issues.
I had to wear braces for a year. Then I was ready for surgery at Baylor Medical Center in Dallas. 8 hours in surgery, then recovery. I was exhausted and swollen with an ice pack around my head. After a 5-day hospital stay, Dr. Wolford monitored my progress for 2 more weeks. I know I may look angry or upset in these photos, but I wasn't. I just couldn't move my mouth. In fact, I couldn't feel most of my face. Those were difficult days, especially with 2 little kids running around the house. Eventually, the swelling went down, and I regained feeling in my face. My pain was gone. I was grateful for the surgery. It took a few months before I could come back to work, and when I did, a lot of people didn't recognize me. Coming up next, I'll show you the before and after photos. Covering news that matters, Janna Clark, Fox 23 News.